कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय जशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन जशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन जशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन जशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन जमुना तेरा वनचारी जमुना तेरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Jayo Radha Krishna Chandra Radha Krishna Chandra Radhe.
जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधे
Jayo Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga Nitai Gauranga
निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga
Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaur Premanande Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 19th chapter, text number 23. Tadaditehe samabhava sahasaridive patuhu smarantyabartur adesham Sthanachashrik prasushruve Tadaditehe samabhava Sahasaridive patuhu Smarantyabarturadesham Sthanachashrik prasusruve Tadaditehe samabhava Sahasaridive patuhu Smarantyabarturadesham Sthanachashrik prasusruve Word to word meaning tada, at that moment, ditehe, of diti, samabhavad, occurred, sahasa, suddenly, ridhi, in the art, vepatuhu, a shudder, smarantyaha, recalling, bhartuhu, of her husband, Kashyapa. of her husband Kashyapa. Adesham, the words, Stanat, from her breast, Cha, and Ashrak, blood, Prashusruve, flowed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. At that very moment, a shudder suddenly ran through the heart of Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha. She recalled the words of her husband Kashyapa and blood flowed from her breasts. Please repeat the translation. At that very moment, a shudder suddenly ran through her heart of Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha. She recalled the words of her husband Kashyapa and blood flowed from her breasts. Purport. At Hiranyaksha's last moment, his mother Diti remembered what her husband had said. Although her sons would be demons, they would have the advantage of being killed by the personality of Godhead himself. She remembered this incident by the grace of the Lord, and her breast flowed blood instead of milk. In many instances, we find that when mother is moved by affection for her sons, milk flows from her breasts. In the case of the demon's mother, the blood could not transform into blood, but it flowed down her breast as it was. Blood transforms into milk. To drink milk is auspicious, but to drink blood is inauspicious, although they are one and the same thing. This formula is applicable in the case of cow's milk also. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, in this verse, Shukadev Goswami turns the attention towards Diti. In the earlier verses, the attention was on Varaha and Hiranyaksha. But here, the attention is being focused on Diti. Because Diti is overwhelmed by grief and sadness, and when somebody is overwhelmed by grief and sadness, somebody who has some spiritual training will remember the Lord. And that is a special blessing of the Lord, if you can have remembrance of the Lord. Kashyapa had told Diti long time back when they indulged in an inauspicious act, Kashyapa had predicted that the outcome of this act will not be good, and that the offspring which will be produced from this act will be killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this she remembered as soon as she was informed that her son Hiranyaksha has been killed. She linked her son's death to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, any remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is possible only by the special mercy of the Lord. It is not possible by any other factor. The one and only factor is the mercy of the Lord. The Lord gives us, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita what he says. Krishna gives both remembrance and forgetfulness. So if somebody can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that means to say it is the outcome of the direct intervention of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise it is not possible. So the Lord intervened to make Diti remember that conversation that she had with Hiranyaksha, with Kashyapa, not Hiranyaksha. So, like we say, yena kena prakarena manak Krishna niveshayat. More or the other, our mind should be centered on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, on Krishna. That is the purpose. And in an absolute sense, it doesn't matter whether even killing, being killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is no ordinary achievement. What Hiranyaksha has achieved by getting himself killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is no ordinary achievement. He has been specially blessed because Krishna's direct actions has no material karma influences. The Lord can only be influenced by His own sweet will. Karma is, the Lord has no role to play in karmic outcomes. Karmic outcomes are all one's own outcome of one's own actions. The Lord doesn't, He allows His impersonal energy to act there. But when the Lord directly comes to kill or directly comes to receive and bless a devotee, that is a different dimension altogether. Just like today is Vaikuntha Ekadashi. So we celebrate today as a day when a pure devotee of the Lord was received at the doorsteps of Vaikuntha. Namma Alvar, the great devotee in the line of Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, it is said that when Namma Alvar left his body, Lord Vishnu was at the doorsteps of Vaikuntha. Come, 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 come. So sometimes we think the Lord, by coming and receiving him, is wonderful thing. and the Lord killing Hiranyaksha, no, that is inauspicious. No, for the Lord everything is absolute. Even getting killed is a great benediction on that living entity. It's a great benediction. So, although Hiranyaksha was seemingly defeated and personally killed by the Lord, yet that killing is a great benediction for that living entity, for Hiranyaksha in this particular case. Because there is no duality in the Lord. In the material world there is duality. And here it is being mentioned, Tada ridite samabhavat sahasa ridi vepatuhu. This vepatuhu shabda, where else it is used? We come across in Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna says, Vepatushta sharire me roma arshashcha jayate. Gandivam samsate astat. Right? In the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, we come across this word Vepatuhu. So there Arjuna is saying, Vepatushcha sharire me. I am shivering. Because of what? Because of seeing, because of the imminent fight that is going to come. And in that fight, he has to fight all his immediate relatives and friends. So he is saying, Vepatushcha sharire me, I'm shivering. Just like we say, when something, some activity which we are not ready for, and if that is being forced on us, we shiver. Sometimes we say, go, your exam, you will shiver in your, if you are not prepared, well, or you have to meet your boss, or meet your authority, if you have done something, some mistake, you go, you shiver now there. Right? So, Diti also is facing that similar thing, because as soon as she heard that such kind of a thing happened, she shivered. I remembered, just when I am telling now, I am remembering one incident, long time back, when I was not even in the temple that time. We had a neighbor, and then in those days he had a Maruti van in the early 90s. And suddenly in the morning, at around 6:30 like that, when he got up, he came out, he saw Maruti van is not there in his house. Somebody has stolen it. So I was standing there. Then he asked me, did you see Maruti van? I said, no, I also didn't see. I didn't realize it, because then he asked me, did you see the Maruti van? I said, no uncle, I didn't see. So he said, where did it go? I said, where did it go? It was there in the night. Suddenly in the morning there is no Maruti van. So I said, looks like it's stolen. He said, yes, it's stolen. And he said it's stolen, and the first reaction he did after that, because he was so affected by that, he got a shock of his life when he saw that it is not there. And he said, just 1 minute, I want to go to the bathroom. He wanted to relieve himself. So you see how shock, the shock of losing a possession made physiological changes in his body. Suddenly he ran from there to the bathroom. So it's like that. Our mind, body, it's all connected. Our emotions influence, our feelings influence the physical dimension. So why can't we so foolishly not understand, if your mind or emotions are triggering physiological changes in your body, right? It is so obvious. When Arjuna had to face the battle, he said, Ve patushta sharire me. And here, Diti, when she heard that her son is killed, immediately she started shivering. When does shivering happen? Ideally, shivering, if you come early morning at 6 o'clock without sweater and all, you will shiver. Right? Today, early morning, we saw, it was shivering. It was too cold. The external weather influences shiver. Shiver has no connection with fear. But we are seeing that when you are fearful also you start shivering. So the same experience here, Arjuna, when he saw he had to fight a battle, he started shivering. Similarly, we are seeing here Diti, when she heard that her son has been killed, she started shivering. So very clearly, there is a link between something that is beyond the physical dimension. In this case, there is an emotional trauma that has been inflicted on her. And because of that, she is shivering. So in similar case, we should clearly see and reason and understand that now that incident has got nothing to do with the body, yet that incident is making the body act. Similarly, it is the spirit soul which actually makes the body work. Just like the mind is triggering, mind is a very abstract thing. It doesn't have a physical reality. But yet that non-physical component is influencing your physical dimension. So why is it not reasonable to think that the spirit soul is what actually influencing all your material activities, all your bodily, physical activities? It is so easy to connect. But when we say they cannot connect, no, spirit is not, there is no any reality of spirit. So, subtle energies influence gross things. And that Prabhupada is giving here, Shukadeva Goswami is mentioning that also. How subtle factors influence our gross body. So one is here in this particular verse, what are the subtle things? One is she got the information that our son has died and immediately she started shudder. Prabhupada is saying that Shukadeva Goswami is saying that Tadadite samabhavat sasa ridive patuhu. There was a shudder in her heart, like as though some electric shock she has received. When she got the news that this is what has happened, it's like an electric current has come into her body. And then, when they told this, she immediately recollected, oh, my husband had told that this is going to happen at one point of time. And then Prabhupada is saying the second consequence. What is the second consequence? Blood flowed from her heart, from her breast. You see the influences physiologically, what and all is happening. Blood flowing from her breast. And Prabhupada is, in the purport, is saying that when mothers are when mothers are overwhelmed by affection for their children, then milk flows from the breast. And exactly opposite happens when something bad is also happening. Just like you see, when you get angry, when you become angry, your face will become red, eyes will become red. So physiologically, whereas anger is a feeling and emotion. Feeling and emotion is not physical in dimension. But that anger can trigger physical changes. Like for example, when we say this, when in modern dimension, in modern context, when we say blood, say somebody in the modern world hears this and says, "What are you talking? Blood flowed from the breast." How is it going to happen? It appears to be very, very untrue. Because I don't think people have seen this phenomena happening. Tears will come, red will happen. If you say all these things, fine. But if you say, when Diti heard it, when Diti heard the news that her son has been killed, from Diti's breast, blood started coming out. People will tell, "Hey, you are exaggerating. Dong mar raha hai ye." Right? That's generally what people will tell. He's living bundle now. Right? So do you think Bhagavatam is doing like, sometimes in our friend circle there will be one fellow boy who is Chod Raja, who will be living all kinds of dong marta rehta hai. It happened like this, it happened like that. Right? Bhagavatam is talking like that or what? Has Bhagavatam got no work other than some fantasy things to talk about? Or should it be accepted? No, it is just an example we can take, but not in reality. No. Shukadeva Goswami is not here to write fantasy stories. Right? These things have to be taken literally. Prabhupada has repeatedly stressed this. In the modern world, even when generally people, when they understand or read scriptures, that's why we say, because they are not devotees of the Lord, they don't accept these things literally. They take it figuratively. Figuratively they have written something. Even people who are scholarly, they might be very scholarly people, or they must be people of faith also. They are faith, but they all talk that the scriptures should be accepted largely figuratively. Figurative means you cannot tell these things as real, Baba. You only accept it as ठीक है, figuratively. But Prabhupada constantly stressed, we don't want to take Bhagavad Gita or our Vedic scriptures like Bhagavatam, all these things figuratively. No, we take it literally. If Shukadeva Goswami or Lord Krishna has said like this, then it must have happened. It is reality. In our scope of understanding, we may not be able to grasp this reality. But that doesn't mean there are many realities which are beyond our scope. Right? in this material world. Prabhupada used to give the example repeatedly that how a learned person, what he understands about space, and a person who is not so learned, what he understands about space is completely different. The way somebody who has learnt matter and the way somebody who doesn't understand matter looks at reality in different dimensions altogether. So your knowledge, your understanding depends on what? Depends on how well you have actually understood that particular subject. Otherwise it's very relative. Very, very relative. So we accept this literally. We accept this. Even though I do not know, nor have I seen in real experience of some similar incident which is happening. I have seen from a mother's breast milk is coming out. But I have never seen blood coming out from the breast. I have till now, in my 50 years, I have not seen this. But I accept it. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is saying this. And I am sure that Bhagavatam would not have put it here if it would not have happened. So we must accept Vedic literatures literally, even though it may seem too far-fetched for our limited intelligence. Some of the things may seem too far-fetched. But we accept. Prabhupada sometimes says many things which seems extremely controversial also to the current worldview, to the current thoughts and ideas of modern society, which has of society. Some of the things, it's not actually what Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada is just giving us the knowledge from the scriptures. He is not inventing whatever anything new. Whatever the scriptures are saying, whatever the acharyas are saying, Prabhupada actually is speaking out on that. So sometimes Prabhupada's statements, modern society may not, we cannot accept at all. Many things. Prabhupada says women is less intelligent. So many things. People may think, what are you talking? How can you say like that? So many things like that. So many statements are there. Which Prabhupada, it's wrong to use Prabhupada word. Scriptures talk about. Like for example, many times Manusmriti, they criticize Manusmriti. They say in the Manusmriti so many things are there. Many things like this are there. About a Brahmana, about a Vaishya, about a Shudra, about a Kshatriya, different Varnas, there's one societies, this one is there. So many points are there about Manusmriti which may seem so damaging to the current worldview of people. Where everybody says all are equal and all those things. How are you saying, no, this fellow is higher, this fellow is lower, whereas all are human beings? This is the worldview that we have right now. But sometimes our Manusmriti says something else. No, there's no this one. Whereas here you see in this same thing, Krishna is actually Samadarshinaha. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Namo Deshyo, Namo. I do not have any anger or love towards anybody. I see everybody equally. Krishna is Samadarshina. He sees in Samatvam everybody. But the person who sees Samatvam, one place he is killing, one place he is happily hugging. But yet he is killing or is hugging. Both are on the same Samatvam. Are the same way. How to understand this? Until and unless you do not take shelter of an acharya and humbly learn from him, you cannot understand this. Today we are, as practicing Krishna conscious devotees, we are able to very easily accept, that the killing of Hiranyaksha or the hand on Prahlada is also the same thing. It is a special mercy of the Lord. Just imagine, just think, if Krishna placed his hand on your head, then what will you call that person? If somebody says to you that Krishna has placed his hand on this soul, what will you tell that soul as? You will tell that soul is such a big soul, special person, that the Lord has personally kept his hand. And if somebody says, the Lord has kept his feet on this person's head, what will you say? He is also great, amazing. There is no difference between, in fact we will say, oh, the Lord has placed his feet on his head. Just like, for example, we have heard how Nityananda Prabhu kept his feet on Raghunath Das Goswami. So we glorify that act. Wow! Mahaprabhu has kept his feet on Raghunath Das Goswami. It is no ordinary thing. What was Krishna doing when he was dancing on the head of Kaliya? He is doing the same thing, no? The Lord's feet has blessed Kaliya. There is no difference actually. So it's actually Kaliya is getting the mercy, the blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although externally what we see it as Kaliya is suffering because of the misdeeds that he has done. But actually there is no misdeed. The Lord has actually supremely blessed him. Similarly, Hiranyaksha is actually blessed. Because he is blessed, because Hiranyaksha is blessed, that is why Diti is able to remember the conversation. Otherwise she would not have been able to remember. Remembrance of the Lord cannot be achieved. You become impersonal. So we accept. Like Prabhupada is saying that milk is nothing but blood. Transformation of blood is milk. Now, with the limited material knowledge that we have, we cannot conceive this truth. Because as per modern day scientific evidence, if somebody says milk and blood are the same, it can be disproved scientifically. They will say, what is this? Milk is not, milk is something else, blood is something else. Blood contains these things. Milk has these things. How can you say it's both the same? So, certain things we cannot go by our own material knowledge and question spiritual truths. We accept spiritual truth is superior to material truth. So we accept that aspect. Some things we accept, okay, this is true. So our intelligence, we should know where to apply. If somebody questions the spiritual truth, then we say we disregard that. Because the spiritual truth is superior to the material truth. So somebody who is an atheist, for him that is not reality. Reality is what he can see and perceive and experience. That is a material dimension. Whereas for a devotee, there are truths which is beyond seeing, experiencing all these realities. Okay, seeing and experiencing and doing things and learning, that is one level of knowledge. But we also know that beyond this there are many other aspects of knowledge. And that knowledge is far superior to than just experiential knowledge. So sometimes we should not be bewildered by material truths. Suddenly come in, new science has told that creation can be created at lab conditions. That means we have been hearing that Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva Janmadhyasya Yataha. We are hearing that Lord Vasudeva created every creation, and suddenly we get a report that in lab itself they have created something like this. So it is a contradiction to what our scriptures say and modern science says. Right? That time we should tell, stop it. Like this, many news will keep coming. That doesn't mean that Janmadhyasya Yatha becomes false. Right? Always remember that spiritual truth holds. We can get some things from the material world, some experiential realities, they will keep finding out. No doubt about it. As society progresses, they will keep creating new realities. But a devotee who is well versed in the scriptures is not bewildered by all these kind of things. He says, chalo, acha hai, badhiya hai. We move on. We are not bewildered by these things. But somebody who is not, they get bewildered. Their entire faith is shaken when some reality happens like this. Just like devotees were shaken when Neil Armstrong and the other two reached in moon planet through a rocket. My God, we thought moon is a heavenly planet. How did they reach the moon? Devotees were shaken up. But we can know that reality is beyond all these kind of achievements. In this material world, different kinds of things will be. Like when in the fight in Ramayana, when Lord Ramachandra was fighting with Indrajit, he was a Mayavi, magician. Suddenly people started thinking that Ram has died, Lakshman has died. He created an illusion like that. They create an illusion. They are capable of that. Rakshasas have got all these kind of powers. So everybody thought it's over, war is over. But then from scriptural knowledge we know that, the Lord is neither born nor dead. Krishna is ajanma. Lord Ramachandra is never, if he is born as Dasharatha's and Kausalya's son, that is by his own free will he has come there. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha, Krishna is saying. My janma and my activities are divine, they are nowhere connected to any material realities. So how can Indrajit create this kind of a things? Even if by seeing, everybody are seeing. Reality in eyes, like people say, what is that? See what you believe. Or what is that phrase which they use? You believe what you see only, whatever. So it is not true. That statement is not really true 100%. Sometimes many things what you see, he may not be what is reality, even if you are seeing right in front of your eyes. For us, seeing, how should we see? Our scriptures tell us how we should see. Jnanena chakshusha. Chakshu means what? Eyes. Which is our eyes? Knowledge. Not this eyes. Our eyes is knowledge. Through the eyes of knowledge we see reality. Eyes of knowledge is what Srimad Bhagavatam and Vedic scriptures are giving us. Not what our senses perceive reality as. That is not the only source of knowledge. That may be some source of knowledge. There may be some reality there. But that cannot be absolute. That is only relative. So, Krishna is by engaging in regular hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, our intelligence gets refined and refined and refined. Our perception of realities become more and more and more better. That's why we should keep on hearing Nityam Bhagavata Seva, Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtanaha, Rudantastoyi Habhadrani Vidunoti Surutsata. So by repeatedly hearing Krishna Katha, our intelligence becomes more and more and more refined. The realities of truth become more and more better. We'll stop here if there's any question, comments. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.